Welcome to episode 76 of the Guitar Builders Basics video podcast. Luthier's tips, tricks and training from me, Ben Crow, at Crimson Guitars in the UK. Now, this is a 5 daily podcast. We put this out almost every day of the week during the working week. And if I don't do this, another video will go up with something else that's rather interesting to watch. Now, anyway, basically this is a question and answer thing. You send me your questions and I will give you an answer on anything to do with guitar building or general tool, general fine woodworking tools. I have a little bit of a problem with them. And you can ask your questions in the comments below this video or in the forums at crimsonguitars.com, where we've got coming up on 1,300 forum members, and it's all pretty awesome. Now, this is a question from Chris. He is a guild member. He says, are F-holes on mostly solid guitars purely decorative, i.e. on something like a thin-line Telecaster, or do they make a difference to the tone? If so, does the shape of that F-hole make any difference at all? So we've got a twofer here. Okay, let's go back to first principles. First principle is I know nothing. This whole tone debate and tone wood debate and all of that with regards to electric guitars is now starting to eat at me like a cancer. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that the construction of an instrument will change the way it sounds. There is no doubt in my mind that the timbre you use will make a difference in the way it sounds. And I'm using the way it sounds rather than the word tone, because there are different components in sound. One of them is sustain and longevity of the note and all of that, and the other is the elusive tone, the clarity of the notes. So, for example, when you're playing a big old jazz chord, you can hear each note rather than just a muddy thump sort of noise. Now, I am absolutely convinced, 100% certain, that if you make a Les Paul type guitar that is made out of mahogany and it's solid, it will sound one way through the sustain and the interaction and all of that. If you make that same instrument and make it hollow, like one of the rubber flip instruments we build, there used to be 3 hanging on this wall last week and they're all gone. We're delivering guitars. There will be a big difference in that. So yes, if you have... Basically, I do think that it's going to make a slight difference, at the very least because you have slightly less material. Okay, you are likely to have feedback. It very much depends on the instrument that you've got. If it's a mostly solid body instrument and it's literally just got a small cavity and an F-hole, not really. I don't think whether you've got the F-hole or whether you've just got a top over that cavity, there isn't going to be that much of a difference, I don't think. If you're talking about making a completely hollow instrument, and that vibrates differently, there's more of a vibrating surface on the top for the top to move, and it will push more sound through your F-holes, and that will definitely make a difference to the tone. So essentially, no. I think that you have... There are too many different types of guitars. With an acoustic instrument, emphatically. With an instrument built entirely like an acoustic with thin sides and a thin top and back, the lack of an F-hole or the addition of an F-hole is going to change the way that the sound waves move inside your guitar. If you have a tiny, diddy little tone chamber, for want of a better word, or a less... Anyway, if you've only got a little diddy tone chamber, then having an F-hole or not having an F-hole isn't going to make much difference, because you don't have that much air moving inside tone chamber. It ceases to become a tone chamber, it becomes weight relief. It will change, I think, the way the guitar sustains, whether you have a tone chamber or not. But whether you have an F-hole or not makes no difference. So back to the second part of the question. And please, 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 if you have empirical evidence that proves me entirely wrong, lay it on my ass. I want to know. Yeah, just teach me. So whether the shape of the sound hole makes any difference, given that I don't think having a sound hole at all makes any difference on this particular type of instrument, if you have a through neck or a solid block of wood going all the way through the instrument, and only a small tone chamber, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. If you have a slightly larger sound hole, there will be possibly a small difference in the acoustic sound of your instrument. The way it sounds to you when you're playing it. When it's plugged into an amp, I honestly don't think anyone will notice any difference whatsoever. You can think about, oh my goodness, now my general knowledge of vintage guitars is going to bite me in the bottom. A 335 type instrument, I'm not sure if they've got a tone block down the middle. I'm pretty sure they do. 335, I think it's got a block of wood right down the center, and then two tone chambers on either side. Now, if you cover up the sound holes on that, and this is an experiment, I don't have one of them in here, obviously, but if you cover up the sound holes with tape or something like that, there will be a difference in the acoustic response to you hearing it. Plugged in, I don't think there will be any difference. And this is how you can empirically check whether I'm full of bullshit today or not. Actually do a physical experiment. So essentially what I'm saying is I'm not entirely sure, but in my experience, no. Plugged into an amp, there will be no difference between having an F-hole or not having an F-hole. There will be a slight difference between having a tone chamber and not having a tone chamber, unless you have a complete acoustic instrument and the entire instrument is vibrating in sympathy with your strings, and that's feeding the pickups and thus enhancing your tone. We're at a point now where we really have to do some proper empirical experiments, not this, hey, I'm putting this guitar on the back of another guitar and that's like making the guitar like twice as big and it's going to like vibrate like twice as much bullshit. Empirical, please. This has been Crimson Guitars, the podcast. If you have any questions, ask us. If you want to support us financially, go to the shop and buy some tools, please. Thank you very much. We are, where are we? We're coming up on the end of January. And we are just now, literally now, catching up with the insane rush that you of tool sales over Christmas, and I made the mistake of offering a coupon code, which a lot of you took up, and thank you very much for your patience. We'll be in touch with offers of free gifts and fellatio. No, free gifts soon. Thank you very much for your support. Have an awesome day. We will be back tomorrow. Goodbye.